San Antonio Spurs fans, we've been talking a lot about who the Spurs maybe should re-sign this offseason, but it's time to talk about who's under contract for our Spurs.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Found a great article on Pounding the Rock that I want to share with you and give you my 2 cents. Also, drop a comment down below. Any of these contracts kind of surprise you? Any that made you think, oh man, we paid way too much. We got to do something to get rid of them. Hit that thumbs up next for a fellow Spurs fan and subscribe for more Spurs content and more NBA content. I'm covering the playoffs. It's been a lot of fun. And let's get into it. Breaking down the Spurs roster heading into the offseason as we take a look at our roster. Guaranteed for next season. That's right. Who's definitely getting money with the Spurs, unless they get traded, of course. First one up, Keldon Johnson begins the first of a 4-year, $77 million extension. He's getting $20 million next season, Spurs fans. And apparently the amount is going to regress each season after, so it's going to keep going down. Usually it's the other way around. It keeps going up. So that is indeed a team-friendly contract, as I mentioned. Then we have 5 more players whose contract go beyond next season but are not fully guaranteed. So looking at these players, Devontae Graham is going to get $12 million next year, and then the following year his contract's partially guaranteed. Charles Bassey, the Bastinator who we just signed, $2.6 million next season, and then the next 2 years are non-guaranteed. Jeremy, you don't mess with the Sohan, who I am currently working on a metal song for. Very excited, a Jeremy Sohan theme song, if you will. $5 million next season. Then the next 2 years after that are team options, which I gotta think the Spurs are going to exercise those options, barring any type of regression by Jeremy Sohan. Malachi Branham due for $3 million next season. He also has a team option for the next 2 years. I also think that barring regression, Malachi Branham is going to get opted, if you will. And last but not least, Blake Wesley, $2.5 million next season, and he also has a team option for the following 2 years. Up in the air on that, he's going to have to start showing us a little more on the court. He is only 19. He is a rookie, so all good there. And finally, we have 3 Spurs who will be on expiring contracts next season. Dougie McBuckets, Doug McDermott, set to make $15.75 million. Holy crap, his contract went up last I checked. I thought it was like $13 million. Okay, Khem Birch, who? Oh, once a Spur, always a Spur, right? Hasn't played a game with us yet, but there he is for $7 million. And then last but not least on this list, Devin Vassell set to make $5.9 million. 4th-year team option, which was picked up in October 22. He is eligible to sign an extension this summer or become a restricted free agent in 2024. I gotta think our San Antonio Spurs are going to try to re-sign him. He's a lottery pick, a recent lottery pick at that, and I do feel like they feel he's part of the team's future. So I expect Devin Vassell to get extended sooner than later. Of note, and I didn't know this, why do I still bring him up? The Spurs will still owe Joshua Primo $4.34 million next season because they picked up his 3rd-year option last October before waiving him. He doesn't count towards the roster spots, but he is going to count towards the payroll. And we have 1 non-guaranteed contract for next year. Zach Collins, $7.7 million. Greg Popovich has already said he's going to be the starting center next year. I do expect the Spurs to extend him at some point. Then we have potential restricted free agents, and these are players that we've talked about a lot recently. First up, Trey Jones. Bird rights, which means we can give an offer of I'm so confused with these NBA contracts sometimes, Spurs fans. $6.626 million. He did start over 41 games this season, which means his qualifying offer rose from 125% of his current salary, which would have worked out to about $2.2 million, to the equivalent of a 21st overall pick from the 2019 draft. Blah, blah, blah. He is eligible for a contract extension worth up to 4 years, around $60 million. I like Trey Jones. Is he worth $15 million a year? If you think he's going to be the starting point guard of the franchise for the next 4 years, then yes, he is. If you don't think he's a starter and think he's better as a backup, or if you draft Scoot Henderson, then $15 million would be way too much. Romeo Langford, we have bird rights, and bird rights, just the easiest way to explain it, I think, is we have first chance. If I'm correct, am I correct on that, Spurs fans? Bird right just means first opportunity for the Spurs. Qualifying offer is $7.7 million. Highly unlikely. Some of you said you'd like to see Romeo come back. Based on his injury history and how his contract is going up, I just don't see him coming back. And then our 3 young guys we talked about in depth a little bit. Sandro Mamukelashvili, early bird rights, qualifying offer of $2.19 million. And then Julian Champagnie, he's on a 2-way contract, qualifying offer of $1.77. What the qualifying offer means is we can obviously offer that money in. Hopefully the players accept it if we wish for them to come back. And last but not least, Dominic Barlow, 2-way qualifying offer of $1.76 million. And then we have our unrestricted free agents, KBD and Gorgie Zhang. Gorgie is 33, I believe. I can't see him coming back. KBD, while he's been playing very well of late, I don't think he really fits into that rebuild. I think he's going to be 27 or 28 when the season starts next year. So I don't know about that. They do touch about Trey Jones a little bit right here. They do Sam Pound on the Rock. I could see them trying to tie down Trey Jones with an extension offer, though possibly not for the max. But at a bare minimum, they will likely extend a qualifying offer and let the market determine his value. I agree with that. The same goes for Mom in terms of at least making him a restricted free agent if he turns down some team-friendly offers, and the other three could go anyway. So I just want to this was just a quick video just to kind of show you guys the contract situation for a lot of our players. We got a lot of guys tied up. We got a lot of guys that could be opted for, and in the end, a lot of these guys that their contracts are expiring, it's going to really depend on what we do in the draft. And we have a boatload of draft picks coming up in the future, and we only have so many roster spots. Correct me if I'm wrong. The NBA roster is 15 players plus two two-way contracts for a total of 17. It's a fun time to be a Spurs fan, and I just wanted to kind of do a recap of what's happening with the roster, with the contract situation. Because a lot of you guys ask about the contracts. I was like, look, here it is with everybody that's on the current roster. I think I did one of these a few months ago, but the roster clearly has changed a lot with Josh Richardson, Jakob Poeltl leaving, a lot of players coming in. So I thought it'd be nice to just kind of recap our contract situation. That being said, I'm having a blast doing Spurs content again. I have a 15-minute break at work from 11 to 11:15. And shooting the videos real quick on my old trusty laptop has been a great way to break up the day and talk some Spurs. And then I can do some live streaming at night for the Spurs when they're back playing. For right now, the NBA playoffs, crazy what happened with the Heat and the Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, from what I'm hearing, are going to play the Boston Celtics in the first round. That means DeJounte Murray versus Derek White. I can't wait to call that series. The series starts on Saturday. I have plans on Saturday, so I can't call it. It's an afternoon game, but I hope to call the rest of the games. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun, DJ versus Derek, so hopefully you guys join me for that. And we got the Bulls and the Raptors tonight, which is Jakob Poeltl versus DeMar DeRozan. Not specifically one-on-one because different positions, but still seeing the two former teammates go against each other, I'm going to love doing that. So I'll be live probably at 6:45 p.m. Eastern for that. And hopefully you enjoy the video. And thank you for watching. And as always, go Spurs, go!